Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Stephanie Mann. Stephanie has been a crime consultant for over 30 years. She is an author, a lecturer, a teacher, a writer, and she is a powerful force in many communities throughout the United States and beyond. She is the executive director of Safe Kids Now, which is nationwide and growing. Please welcome Stephanie Mann.
Thank you, Rebecca. Very nice introduction. I'm pleased to be here. I can't control you if you're not angry and you have peace within yourself. But what makes people vulnerable and why we're going to have these lone wolves in America and people from these our countries going into these other countries is because they are angry. They've been abused in some way here in this country. That's happening all the time. And it makes us vulnerable to lone wolf behavior here in America because people have seen they have power if they destroy people that are innocent. So you can see how this, does that make sense to you?
Unfortunately, unfortunately, Stephanie, it really does. I have seen so much in my own life where people that have no center of consciousness, wisdom, or self actually don't know how to spell God with two O's. They use God for a big stick to hit somebody over the head with, a greater power. Where I grew up, our God was so mean that the devil was on unemployment and only had a part-time job as a scapegoat.
That's
So
right.
their consciousness of what is good is completely lost, and power is all there is. And power feeds upon fear.
Absolutely. Fear is a motivator to do something. You can do something good or you can do something bad. Fear can motivate us. For example, I've worked with women who've had children shot and killed. And instead of getting angry, that anger and fear that they felt, they turned into a nonprofit group to help other people. So that's the good side of fear because they feared. Well, let me tell you a story. One lady that I worked with had a 21-year-old son that was shot and killed in Oakland, California. She was so concerned about her 17-year-old boy that she sent him to Tennessee so that he would be protected to live with his grandmother. And he was shot and killed in Tennessee. Well, she was beside herself, of course. I mean, this is terrible what's happening in this country, and we need to resolve a lot of the problems we've got right here. If we understood it better and we resolve it here, then we're going to understand ISIS better so that we can stop them from making what they want to do is destroy us in this country. So what we have to do, in my opinion, is to get better organized, work together, get organized in neighborhoods because that social isolation is literally killing people. So, and it's turning children away from finding their own inner spirit. And what they're looking for is how do I take out my anger on other people? Make sense?
Yes, unfortunately, when one's unbalanced, playing the part of the victim can be as destructive as otherwise because the victim doesn't stand up for what they believe in and internalizes a whole lot of stress, and it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, and what you're seeing is they turn to a false leader,
Right.
tell them what to do, and then tells them of grandiose things like you're going to go to heaven if you blow yourself up and you'll have 74 virgins. I mean, that doesn't make sense to most of us. But if you've been indoctrinated and you don't feel good about your life and your life isn't worth living, you're angry, you don't know how to reach out to God and say, "Help me, I need help." Your ego is to make these terrible choices for your own life and for other people's lives.
It also brings in the concept that you have to take your power from somebody else because you have no inner power.
That's right. Yes, you feel absolutely hopeless, absolutely helpless. You don't understand the power within your own spirit because all of us have this amazing ability to look within ourselves and to listen, and get wisdom from within so that we can make other lives better and in the process make our life better.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. There are so many more people that are spiritually centered in this country. You can see how strong they are because they've had a lot to overcome. Look at the mothers and the grandmothers that are taking care of children and raising children to be responsible. We have a lot of educating to do. Child abuse is a tremendous problem. And I'll give you one very quick example here. You may remember an amazing man with a fabulous talent, and he died much too early, and that was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was very clear about the brutality he suffered from his father. Look how he tried to change himself. Look what he tried to do to make his life better. He couldn't handle it, and he died much too early, and we lost all that wonderful talent of things he might have produced later in life because he was brutalized and as a sensitive. Now this is, some kids can handle brutality. They think they can, but it changes who they are. I don't care who they are, but some of them do not die. Some of them keep going. And Michael Jackson was an incredible talent, and he suffered so within himself because he felt his skin color wasn't right, his nose wasn't right. He tried to change himself to fit in the image that he thought he should be. Destroyed him, and such a waste. We have got to stop the abuse. We have got to start looking at ourselves and what we are doing. And a lot of this is generational. I was hit and smacked, so I get to hit and smack my kids. I was beaten up, so I get to beat up my child. No, you're taking their spirit away. You're taking who they really are. They struggle to find their identity. I can't tell you how many people that I worked with that were homeless that even couldn't sit around a table and talk to each other until we started really clamping down on them because they were so angry. Angry at the world, angry at their lives. It makes me sad to think that we have so many people like this, and yet it can be turned around. Have you ever wondered how a poor person in the ghetto gets off alcohol or gets off drugs? Have you ever thought about it? Because most of us think of Dr. Phil and having some wonderful guru come in and change our lives. But guess how they do it when they're poor? They can't afford that.
Well, probably they do it by laying in the gutter and knowing that if they don't change, their next step is death.
That's right. And some of them, and I know these people, have gone to a rescue mission. Matter of fact, I have a friend that went to the Richmond Rescue Mission, and he was down and out. He was down in the gutter, but he was hungry. And he said, I want food. I'm hungry. So he went to the rescue mission, and they said, okay, we'll give you dinner, but you've got to go in and listen to a sermon. And he went, oh no, I was brought up in a church. What a drag. So he went back 3 times before he got on his knees, humbled himself and said, God, I need help. I need help. Do you know that wonderful man is named A.J. Jelani, and he is the most wonderful man I've ever met. And he is a giving man that has worked in his community for years now, turning it around. And he has about 30 kids in the neighborhood. Everybody knows AJ, and they love him because he became a totally different person.
I've met AJ, and I agree with you 100%.
Yes. So anybody can do this, but don't wait until you're in the gutter. Don't wait until you've got a terrible problem. You need to take a look at your life now. All of us do. That is our journey. And it's a tough journey. Sometimes you think it's easier to escape into drugs. Oh, that's not a good idea because that can escalate. So, if we're going to change the situation with ISIS, America needs to become much more enlightened, and the people that are enlightened need to do a whole lot more outreach and help people. We need to look within ourselves and see what we can do to make a difference. And all of us have that power.
We need to realize with every human being and help them realize if there's destruction for yourself or anyone else, you're on the wrong path. You don't have to do that. That's not power. It's simply destruction. And sooner or later, it will come home to roost.
You know, I might add here that if you have a secret life of any kind and you're not proud of something you're doing, you're on the wrong track. You need to take a look at what you're doing behind closed doors, what you're doing on the computer, what you're doing in a secret way, and say, I need to change this. This is pulling me down, and it is self-destructive. Self-destructive.
Well, there's a big misconception that what other people think of you makes your life, but that's not true. What makes your life is your own silly habits and what you think about every day and the direction your thoughts are taking you. So you see, it might be secret to the world, but it's not secret to the inner computer that's guiding your life that's taking you there.
That's for sure. And not only that, if it's taking you down this bumpy road, you know, it's time to take a look at it and say, you know what, I got to turn this car around and go in another direction. People say, well, things are fine, and yet they're very messed up in here and they don't know what to do. Well, take a look, find somebody to help you, get a support system, reach out, help somebody else. That's kind of the way I turned my life around, was just reaching out and helping somebody else and listening. And other people become your teachers if you're willing to listen and ask questions.
That's very true, because inwardly we're all built the same.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. So it's ISIS is a time that's come. I see it as an opportunity. I see it as a wake-up call for every American. We no longer know what's happening in the neighborhood or who's doing what. But we need to get connected so we're much more informed, so we're much more in tune with what's happening in our communities. And if you go to safekidsnow.com, we'll help you out, we'll coach you, we'll show you how to help your city. We have lots of information for you. So reach out to us, and with the help of Rebecca Kimball, we're making a difference, and we want you to make a difference, because we can change things that are going on. First, we need to start with ourselves, and then when we feel like we're making some progress, reach out to help others.
I love the fact that you said, first, we must start with ourselves. If we have no compassion, if we have no forgiveness, and we have nothing but anger, we're not going to be very helpful to anybody.
No, you're not. Nobody is.
Yes. So we need to deal with ourselves,
Right.
get ourselves centered, and then help these kids that so many of them now are running around in adult bodies. They never grew up.
Never.
Help them realize that taking away from anybody is not going to solve their inner emptiness.
That's right.
They need to find out who they are, what their gift is, what their ability is, and it's a lot more than beating somebody up and taking away from them. That is totally destructive, and it will come home to roost sooner or later. Sooner or later, they will get knocked off the little throne of the king of Bunkers Hill.
That's what this life is all about. We're only here for a brief time. We're either moving up in a positive direction and growing within ourselves, or we're moving down and we're going in a negative direction, taking things, substitutes, finding sexual partners, whatever we're doing, and we're going down the slippery slope. So time to look at that and say, you know what? I want to be somebody that can help other people. I want to be somebody that loves myself. You can't love yourself when you're doing destructive things.
No, you can't. You know, change is the eternal law of physics. It's basically the definition of life. If it doesn't change at all, it's dead.
That's right. Nobody stands still.
We are moving in a direction, wittingly or unwittingly. We have an effect, wittingly or unwittingly. That's going somewhere because that's the nature of life and physics. We should pay attention. Where is it going? Without purpose and responsibility.
Yes.
Without purpose and responsibility, we're ineffective. Responsibility is important. To stand up for something you believe in, take responsibility for it, help other people take responsibility. Punishment isn't the answer. Responsibility is.
Yes. I mean, so many of us are being very productive. I must tell you, I meet the most amazing people, and they have overcome tremendous, tremendous odds. I know a man that got out of prison, and he was in there for 25 years, and he did some terrible things, and now he's giving back to his community. Do you have to spend 25 years in prison to learn that? I don't know. I know other people that have been drug dealers and selling drugs and into pornography, and it becomes an addictive. I mean, we can get addicted to God, or we can get addicted to pornography. You decide. Who do you want to follow?
Well, if you can spell God with 2 O's and you get addicted to the good you're doing in life, it's much more fulfilling and rewarding than any drugs will ever be.
Oh yeah, drugs seem good at the time, and they're so seductive for kids. Kids are even drinking medication right out of a bathroom cabinet. They're not even knowing what they're putting in their body. This is crazy. What kind of message are we sending our children? Look at the violence. We've got so many issues that need to change. We are giving our children a steady diet of violence on television. Have you ever seen anybody, if they ate candy and nothing else, that would stay healthy? Well, if you see nothing but violence, how can you stay healthy? They don't see any positive ways in most of our communities about how you change your behavior. That's going to be up to you and me and Rebecca. We need to get out there and start a new dialogue. We need to have churches interacting with low-income churches. Many of the higher-income churches have many people with many skills. And the low-income churches, they are incredibly strong. Most of the people in these communities, the minority community, are incredibly strong. And they can teach us a lot about inner spirit. And we need to cross-pollinate. I've seen that over and over again, that on this side and this side, if they came together, we'd be unstoppable. There would be no ISIS. Yeah.
You're very right about that. I think the thing that is so completely beautiful about people everywhere is that we all have the same basic needs. We all need to be loved. We all need to be accepted. We all need to be accepted for who we are. We all need to know that our inner ability, whatever it is a gift. It's who we are, and it brings us joy. We need to understand that. And it isn't strength to steal that from someone else. It's destruction.
Right.
They don't know the definition of strength. Strength is inner.
Right.
It's not a sword.
That's true. Yeah, and if you're cheating on your tests, and if you're stealing little things here, you're really cheating yourself. You're really, and as a teenager, if you're thinking about taking things that don't belong to you, or lying about your friends, or saying terrible things on the internet about your friends, it comes back. It's called karma. It comes back to you later. It may come in a different form, but you're going to be punishing yourself, basically, when you do the wrong thing. And you know what the wrong thing is. All of us do. We just shut down our conscience because our conscience says to us, hey, think twice before you do that. And if we don't listen, we're going to get ourselves in trouble and go down that slippery slope.
Well, if the only way that they believe they can get it is taking it away from someone else, they will never have anything.
That's right.
Ever, because as the old Hindu says, your karma runs over your dogma.
That's a good one. Sure does.
But what goes around comes around. It really does. Because
Oh.
you've created that cycle.
Well, Rebecca, we've lived long enough to see that happen in people's lives. I saw it in my parents' lives. I've seen it in my friends' lives. I've seen it, you know, if you're a good, honest person, that'll come back to you.
Right.
If you're a bad, dishonest person, that's going to catch up with you too. So there's no free lunch here. Nothing.
Well, what we feed the elephant in the room makes it grow. Now, if that elephant happens to be love and compassion, wonderful. If
Right.
it's hate and a feeling that you can't have anything unless you steal it from somebody, can you imagine the lack of self-confidence a real thief has to think they have to take from somebody else to get something?
Yeah. Yes, it's pretty sad. And their lives they really screw up their own lives. And then they start taking drugs because they can't stand who they've become. You know,
Yeah.
why are you making these choices and then it's trying to escape from yourself? This is spiritual blindness at its ultimate chaos.
There's a concept of thinking that if they take from somebody else, they're smarter than somebody else. But let's look at that for a minute. Did you ever notice how the thief has to find somebody like a little kid in the parking lot and steal his ice cream in order to feel powerful? Or a little old lady that can't walk without her walker and steal her purse in order to feel powerful? If that's power, the guy belongs in a mental institution.
Well, I mean, it's so misguided, and who knows why he makes those choices.
But did you
Uh,
notice that they all find somebody more vulnerable, more helpless to pick on, and imagine that that's a conquest, and that makes them a man? They don't know what a man is. They
yeah,
have no idea, which is my point. If they knew what a man was, it would change their life. If
that's
they
right.
knew they could be a man by choice and
Right.
had some help, it would change their life.
Yes. And they're feeding their ego. They're not feeding their spirit.
No.
And when the ego takes over, the ego says, I'm wonderful. Notice me. I can do anything I want because I have power. You see men in power abusing their power because it's very seductive, but it's very, it's very self-destructive. I mean, you saw what happened to some of our politicians that have gone off the chart. You've seen what's happened to some of our Hollywood stars. A lot of them are not even here. They die at an early age. You see children that make really bad choices, and the second biggest killer of our kids in this country is suicide. Is that crazy? Crazy.
They were back then again to not teaching the child
That's right.
the quality that's in them, that they're born with.
We're not teaching this child how to be spiritually centered. If you're not teaching your child how to find their own center and take responsibility for their life and find that inner power, if you're not teaching them how to do that, and as a matter of fact, I have a book that I wrote a number of years ago called Street Safe Kids, and I wrote it as a result of working with the homeless. I found, what did they not know? They didn't know how to handle their anger. They didn't know how to handle well, it's a 10-step program. So anyway, we need to teach children how to handle their lives. And it's not difficult. Anybody can do it. But you need to educate yourself first, change your life, make those changes within yourself and become that loving, caring parent. A selfish parent breeds a selfish child. A loving parent breeds a loving child.
And that's a very, very good point, because we shouldn't hold people terribly responsible for their ignorance when it's all they knew. They were raised by children having children that never grew up themselves,
Right.
and their parents only knew what their parents taught them. So we need a benevolence to reach out, and we need to teach people young, love these kids, embrace these beautiful children just the way they are, and help them grow up centered.
And I would like to discourage more government programs because people that are in government don't necessarily care, and they may be just as messed up. I would suggest that you change your own self, yourself, and then you can help your kids.
Right.
And the government programs, some of them have been very good, but it is going to be people that connect in neighborhoods. I'm sure you've all heard about Love Thy Neighbor. Well, what does that mean? It means you at least know them, at least connect with them, help your kids connect with them, because the kids learn a lot from neighbors about how relationships work. They learn how conflict is handled by you if there's conflict in the neighborhood. They learn how to handle their friends because the parents are out there and the parents are saying, you know, we don't do this, we do this, and this is how you're polite. Neighbors are your best teachers. And if they come to you and say, you know, your child is out of control, you need to take a look, you need to listen. Parents should be the first to know their child is in trouble, not the last. And so many parents are, they don't want to see that their child is going down the wrong road, and they don't address it, and they hope it goes away, or they hope it just gets better. That's not the way it works.